Hello, y'all. I'm back on this exercise bike. So, I will be mentioning in a video that I will be uploading. Actually, the video is uploading now, but I'm not gonna put it on public until the morning. And so, this is the thing. I expressed in that particular video that I am going to be sharing more things as I get comfortable more and more with my channel, things that I've gone through and things that have specifically happened to me. So, this is something that I experienced when I was living with a psychopath, right? And this was not an intimate lover, this was not a husband, this was a psychopath, right? And this person meets every trait that a psychopath could have. In a legal realm, the person has been referred to as that. Okay. Undiagnosed psychopath. So keep this in mind. Psychopaths are automatic narcissists. However, there will be more extreme behaviors and dangerous behaviors that will come from a psychopath. So, this is what this psychopath did to me that so called got on some substances, right? And substances are drugs, y'all. Okay. Not just hardcore drugs. Stop thinking that people are not on substances because it's only weed, it's only vape, it's only cigarettes, it's only caffeine. It's the amount that someone could be using and the effect that it has on their particular brain. So, this psychopath did this to me. Repeatedly left my home while I was asleep. And I mean sleep, y'all. And left my door unlocked. When I say repeatedly, did it every day. Okay. Now, I'm one of those people, I'm not so free with them house keys. However, anyone that's disrespecting you, that's living, they're not primary on the lease, they were secondary at that time, or under other occupants. You got primary, you're the primary leaseholder. Then the other occupants are everyone else that you put on that lease. A lot of times when you move in a new place, there can be 8 people that move in. The landlord is only going to give you 2 sets of keys. You know what I mean? Not too many landlords give you 8 sets of keys, even though 8 people are on the lease. I mean, in some states they may do that, but on the West Coast where I'm at, that's not how they do it. If you want all those additional keys, you need to pay for them yourself. So, this psychopath would leave weird ass notes for me, smiley faces, weird ass shit. You hear me? And we would constantly have debates about this shit. A lot of times, this psychopath didn't even have the common fucking decency to even fully shut the door. And we're not going to blame drugs, y'all. We're not going to blame drugs because this psychopath was purposely doing this. And also, I want to point this out. When these people are on drugs, yeah, it's affecting the brain, but when they do certain things and they're not high yet. So you got to remember there's that you're high, you're sober. So this person is leaving to get the drugs, weed, vapor, whatever, um, nicotine, pills, alcohol, whatever else this psychopath is dibbing and dabbing in, right? And a lot of times, people let these psychopaths get away with getting them killed. So, this is how you got to look at this. Let me tell you some stories on what has happened to people. When someone leaves your house and they do not purposely lock the door, so what, you don't give them a key. Anybody that cares about you would come get you while you sleep and say, I'm getting ready to leave, lock your door. Right? But remember, you got to keep this in mind. When you're dealing with a psychopath and they're doing shit like that, how do you know this motherfucker ain't going to have somebody come in to kill you or to take your life? You see what I mean? Or not just kill or take your life, that's the same thing, but seriously harm you. And so I'm going to explain to you what has happened in some people's circumstances. We always hear about these getting mauled by a pit bull or something like that, or other breeds of dogs. It's not just pit bulls that maul people, right? So when someone leaves and they do not completely close the door, do you know a pit bull can push that door in, come in your house, smell where you're at, follow your scent, and maul you to fucking death while you sleep? So you got to start looking at this shit serious, right? And it continued to happen. I don't have to deal with it no more. But when it was going on, it was one of the creepiest, fucked up, abusive, ignorant ass, cold-blooded ass shit that I ever seen in my life. And that's the psychopathy right there. I wouldn't leave my worst enemy and continue to leave on purpose every fucking day. This shit went on for weeks and weeks, not years, because I'm not going to let no motherfucker do no shit like that to me for no years. But it went on, I would say, month and a half to 2 months. It went on long enough to where I put that shit in a report. And see, you got to, because this is my thing. A motherfucker that does that, I don't care if they are a relative. Let's clarify this. They ain't no relative for real. Not in that spiritual realm. They're blood related to you. But they're not acting like a relative, because a relative is your protector. Ultimately, that's your protector. And that's one of the things that I dealt with when I was dealing with someone with psychopathy. I knew that that was a sociopath. This is somebody I took care of, y'all. This is somebody that I made sure that the door is locked so nobody could come in and harm this individual. Do you understand this? Like, you got to understand that this psychopathy and narcissism is very much real. And it's on paper that this person did this shit. The police officer wrote it down, because at the end of the day, that person that is leaving the door unlocked and partially open on purpose after you repeatedly told them to stop, and they're doing it on purpose, and was doing it while I was asleep, y'all. They didn't care what time they left. Usually, when they left, I think it was usually daylight hours, usually. But it was happening at different times. It was happening at different times. But this is something that I experienced. So I just want to share this with you. You got to stop looking at narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths and just considering their danger, risk, hitting you, or emotionally abusing you. A lot of times they leave doors open on purpose for somebody else to come in and take your motherfucking life. Even if they don't have somebody do it, they don't give a fuck if it happens. This is a evil fuck, man. A evil fuck. I'm telling you. I never in my life, and I don't care what nobody say, ain't nobody in the fucking world that high to do no shit like that to their relative. And this is why I'm not going to point out this other issue, because I just ain't that cold. I could really say some shit to blow your mind, but I'm just not that cold, right? But at the end of the day, anybody doing that type of stuff to you, leaving your newborn unattended for 8 hours and they go off to the store, leaving your newborn in a crib, stuff like that. I mean, it's just so many things that a psychopath can do. However, that was documented because the person continued to do it from anywhere from about a month and a half to 2 months. It did not go on longer than 2 months because it went on over a month. Okay. And that's for sure. It went on more than 4 weeks. I mean, like I said, notes were left with smiley faces. I mean, this motherfucker acted like this shit was funny, y'all. It's funny to this psychopath leaving their family members' front door open while they sleep for somebody to come in and take your life. Do you know how many people have been killed like that? Do you realize crimes of opportunity? Do you realize it's people that will go to apartment buildings and neighborhoods where homeowners are, townhomes, and they will try people's doors just because while people are asleep? And when they get to one that's unlocked, go in and kill the fucking whole family? Did you realize shit like that happens? Do you realize a lot of home invasions, they're not actually fully breaking and entering in that house? Do you realize some home invasions, they're just fucking coming in an unlocked door with the alarm off? Did you realize that? Like, you gotta really, really realize and accept. Stop making excuses for these fucking people that show you that they hate you. And when you've been through something like that and these outsiders come in, agencies that help these fucking psychopaths, they actually are in some sense not fully understanding the sickness of this fuck. And when you say to these people, you don't really give a fuck about a lot of these issues, and when you come in, you have so much animosity built up in you. I mean, you could hear it right now. I mean, I'm riled up just talking about it. But like I said, as I get comfortable with my channel, I got a lot of stuff I'm going to tell y'all of shit that's been done to me. I loved myself enough. I talked to the police about it. The police documented it. See, don't ever think you paranoid. When you're telling a police officer that has some level of empathy that this person is doing this to you on purpose and they continue to do it, they didn't just leave the house, y'all. Made sure to leave the house while I was unsleep. This individual did this. This individual made sure that they continuously left while I'm asleep. What that means is this: I have no defense when whomever comes in that door to try something, if that were to happen. And you don't have to live in a very bad neighborhood for that to happen, y'all. It happens in the best of neighborhoods. This psychopath put me in the most vulnerable situation. Now, if somebody's walking out the house and they leave the door unlocked and you're up and moving around, you're going to notice that the person's not home, maybe. I mean, I don't live in no $1 billion mansion. So if I'm up, at least, I'm going to notice the person's not there. And I could lock the door sooner myself. But when a psychopath leaves you sleep and continuously, see, you got to remember, this psychopath may leave at 6 a.m. Just say, I'm just going to make up a time. They leave at 6 a.m. Say this particular day, you don't have to get up until 10 a.m. I'm not always the early bird, y'all. I am if I have to be at work or I have something to do. However, I'm just always not the early bird, right? So if this psychopath leaves at 6 a.m., you decide to wake up about 10 a.m. That's 4 fucking hours. This psychopath has left that door unlocked. And see, the message that this psychopath is sending you is they don't give a fuck if you're dead or alive. And no matter what or who deals with them later in the latter, when the situation progresses and they're hanging out at these other people's homes and you no longer have to deal with that on a regular in your home, right? Don't care what the agencies and the people that's helping these psychopaths think, because this is the thing. I lived through that. I was here when that psychopath was doing that shit to me. Another thing the psychopath did was there was a situation where I had something really wrong with my right knee, right? It was something where I had called the doctor's office and the doctor's office recommended that I come in, go actually not come into the clinic, but to go into the ED, the emergency department, so they could do a simple procedure to fix it. Ultimately, I kept walking on it and the problem went away. But during this time, I was asking the psychopath to go into the emergency department with me. This is what this fucker did. Told me no. This is a psychopath that I had taken to the fucking doctor their whole fucking life. A motherfucker that never had a diaper rash. You hear me? And I mean literally, this is how clean and well kept this individual was. Somebody that I pretty much raised, okay? So, and remember, this shit's genetic. They taking on those traits, Those genetic components that don't just come from you as they mother and father, they get that shit from the other parent too. If that other parent is a cold-hearted fuck, you got this psychopath on your hands now. Not always could you have done nothing about it, y'all. So I apologize for the cursing and the profanity, but just thinking about it pisses me off. Comment if you've ever been subjected to something on this level or something else. But this is what I want to share. When that type of shit is happening to you, that's not just no narcissist. A mid-range narcissist or a greater narcissist, even some low-level fucking fucked up ass narcissists will say, hey, I'm leaving, lock your door. Okay, them psychopaths, it's a different type of evil with some of them, okay? It just is. Some psychopaths won't do shit like that because they're too smart to do it, and they don't want to take the risk of someone harming you because of something they did because they have things to lose. But this psychopath didn't have shit to lose because pretty much what he or her had was being provided for by me. So this motherfucker didn't feel like they had shit to lose, but they actually do. Their freedom is something to lose. In cases like this, call the fucking police and have that on record. Especially if the person is going to be in the house for a while and they're doing that. And this is why. Think about this. Say hypothetically, somebody would have came in there and taken my life. Not just the person that killed me and walked through that door should be incarcerated for that. So should that psychopath that on purpose, even after being asked over and over to stop it, kept doing that shit to me. And this is why I don't play a lot of games with people, y'all. I have seen some cold shit in my life. And you gotta look at, you don't deserve it. You just don't deserve it. Nobody deserves that. Especially when you're the reason that this psychopath can even walk out that door. So those were two red flags. The security issue that was purposely being done. And two, refusing to go to the emergency department. The Lord fixed it where I didn't have to go anyway, but my right knee was in a lot of pain. I don't know if it was sprained or whatever was wrong. It appeared as if fluid was in it. However, when I started walking more and more, and I went on my walking journey, as I walked, anywhere from 3 to 6 miles a day, the problem went away. So I don't know if it was the muscles. I don't know what it was. However, over time, walking made it feel better and it went away. And I started working on sleeping in a different position because I think the position that I was sleeping in was putting pressure on that right knee. So I just worked on that. Sometimes it's the little things that count, y'all. So yeah, this is something that I experienced. There's so many ways that a sick person and an evil person and a wicked person can show you that they don't love you. And this is the thing, y'all. Psychopaths are not your protectors. They're more than likely gonna be or capable of being the person that will bring harm to you. And keep this in mind. This is the number one red flag. And this is what a lot of empathetic people don't want to accept, right? They don't want to accept that, wow, this person is willing to leave me unsafe and unsecure in an unsecure environment And this is someone that I made sure that they were safe their entire life. And this is someone that I've always provided the best of medical attention to, taking them to the best doctors, the best hospitals, and they don't want to provide it for me since I'm having a problem. So they don't love you. And you gotta limit those situations. This is someone that you don't, I mean, what you calling them for? What you calling them for? You see what I'm saying? Like these type of people, the Lord just gonna get them out your life. Oh, but karma's coming, baby. Karma's coming. They karma really every day having that type of hateful heart for real. No good comes out of that. Every dog has their day. I never in my life left anyone that has helped me do anything, left them while they were asleep with their door unlocked on a consistent basis. But see, the psychopath was basically getting like a joy and fun out of playing with my mind, so to speak, because the psychopath would leave these weird fucking notes. Okay. And I alerted the officer of that. There's nothing at that point. I mean, the report was not made to charge anybody, but in the event of my death, that police officer was an empathetic person. And that police officer would have made for sure that that psychopath would have somehow got some charges for that shit, because basically the psychopath is, that's like conspiracy to murder. That's almost like setting me up to be killed. Yeah, the killer comes in and kills me, but the psychopath continued to leave the door open for it to happen. And I believe because that was documented and I reported that and it was on paper and I had a copy of it, something might have could have been done about that. You'll be surprised. They'll pull out a law for everything. Okay? So this was just a situation that I dealt with. And be careful. And the reason I am so having so much soul when I tell about this is stop just calling them narcissists, y'all. They ain't all just narcissists. Sometimes these are psychopaths. And they don't care if you raised them, if you they auntie, they uncle, you adopted them, you they real mama, you they daddy. They don't give a fuck about you. They're cold souls, y'all. It's just like you're dealing with the devil. That psychopath got so many demons on them. This is the reason why I couldn't do no shit like that. I'm going to tell you why. I don't give a damn how much I can't stand you, right? I'm not going to do that shit to you. Let me tell you why. Because at this time, this psychopath was living in my home, right? And I'm not going to say how long ago this was. It really doesn't matter. During my life, this happened to me. So the reason I couldn't do that shit to nobody, and like I said, my worst enemy, because I couldn't stand to come in and see you slaughtered like that. And I couldn't stand the fact that I knew I had did that on purpose and got you killed. So, see, my soul, I can't take nothing that far. I just can't do it. Not and plot it and plan it like this psychopath did. This psychopath took the time to write a fucking cartoon note bragging about the shit. Ha ha ha, I know you see the door unlocked. Like, this fucking shit ain't funny. And this motherfucker was not 5 or 10, y'all. This was basically a borderline adult that did this shit. This is not somebody that was 13. They wasn't 14. I'm not gonna give their age, but they wasn't no fucking little fucking kid. They wasn't in middle school. This was somebody that was old enough. I believe they have psychopathy or they're a sociopath. Pretty much that's borderline the same thing in so many words. Psychopaths are born, sociopaths are created. The legal professional did not refer to this person as a sociopath. They referred to him as a psychopath. So that means that that's born. And then the individual started saying they don't believe in the Lord no more. So see, all of these gateways that individuals open for themselves, you opening the door. You're opening your mind. You're opening your soul for all those evil entities to just take your ass over. But the psychopath don't give a fuck. They might brag about some of them demons. They might think they can handle them demons, but they can't. Nobody can. Especially somebody that's talking about they don't have no belief system no more. And it's your prerogative what kind of belief system you have. But I've just noticed with psychopathy and sociopathy, not having a belief system is not going to make that diagnosis better. You think you're going to be a sociopath, narcissist, or a psychopath, and you're going to be a unbeliever in the Most High, the Lord, God Almighty, and you think that condition, which that ain't nothing but a condition that's a demonic possession, for real. That's why they don't give a fuck if you die, even if you have helped them. But I thank the Lord for the strong woman that everybody in my family element and everybody that was close to me made me. I'm glad that I know what real love is. I'm glad that I was able to say, look, I did this for this person. This is some cold shit they're doing for me. And see, that's the problem with a lot of empathetic people. You don't want to accept that you're not supposed to be the giver. When you take these children and people you raise and adults to the hospitals and doctors and you get sick, they're supposed to go to the doctor with you too, y'all. Stop that you give and don't expect shit in return. That's not the way that works. It's just not the right way. That's a toxic relationship. And so that's something that I experienced. That is something that I experienced, y'all. And so if you're in a situation where a psychopath is putting you in danger on purpose, report it. Put that on paper. What's on paper will never go away. It will never go away. It will always be there. Protect yourself. Love yourself. And accept that psychopath don't love you. And don't let these other people that come in later and they're convinced that this fucking psychopath is a victim. You know what the fuck this person did to you. Some of these agencies are going to ask you to let them come back tomorrow so they can finish you off. I mean, none of these people are going to be at your funeral. None of them give a fuck. They just don't. A lot of times, these future people, these future forms of supply, which are human beings that are going to be helping this psychopath, sociopath, or narcissist, a lot of times, in this case, we just going to wipe out the narcissist, this psychopath. We'll just erase that narcissist word. So in this case, the future people that are going to be helping the psychopath, There are other psychopaths. So remember, you lived it. They didn't. They weren't there when it was happening. A lot of them ain't even been through no shit like that. A lot of people ain't had no fucking psychopath in their house that left their door open and left their freaking house while they was dead asleep for a month to 2 months. A lot of people ain't had no shit like that happen, so they don't understand it. They just don't. They don't get it. They don't see when you're saying that this person could harm me or someone connected to me. They don't see it. You got to see it. You lived it. You know what you invested in these individuals and you know what you got back. The Lord will bless you in other ways. Don't feel like what you invested is a waste. It's not. You're going to get back what you gave out. You're just going to get it back from other empathetic people. That's it. You might be in a situation and somebody give you a house. That's happened to people. Where somebody dies, they didn't even know the person and they inherit a whole house. That's happened sometimes, y'all. So, or they inherit a piece of land, a piece of valuable jewelry. You just never know what somebody is going to leave you. I found out that down south, I have some family land. It's the entire family's land. I didn't know I had this land. I was displaced at one point, not knowing that I have land in the South. I can go rent an RV or buy an RV and pull up on my family's land down south. I didn't know that. So see, you're going to get your blessing back. And that psychopath is going to get what they got coming to them. They're going to be blessed too. Because remember, everybody, your karma balances out. Even the psychopath invested some good. However, when they do things like that, another weakness in psychopaths is where a lot of their karma comes in, bad karma that comes to them. They don't understand that they're supposed to apologize for those things. And I believe a lot of times the karma comes because they don't have a genuine apology. Because they owe two people an apology. Not people, because the Lord's not a person, the Lord's a spirit. But they owe the individual they wronged. And they need to repent for the sin. Because that is a sin. Doing that to somebody, especially someone that's provided you a home your whole life and stuff, like this, it's just not right. But that's what a psychopath did to me. Sure did. I'm locking my own door now. Fortunately, the Lord removed me from that dangerous situation, because it is dangerous. And be careful. And I hope this story helps you understand the way they think and how they think and how they're willing to put your life on the line to cause harm to you. Not just to you, somebody around you. They're just willing to do it. It's just wicked, y'all. Because what they got ain't got nothing to do with the Lord. That's a demonic type of possession a lot of times. Especially when a psychopath is saying that they're now an unbeliever or they never believe. I believe with psychopathy, the best situation that someone with psychopathy can be in is to be somebody that believes in the Most High. They have to be accountable to something outside of themselves. Because if not, there's no hope for the condition. There's no hope. Okay. So I hope this makes sense. And be careful. There's many other things that a psychopath can do to put you in danger. You may be dealing with a psychopath where they're leaving weapons out in front of your toddlers, and your toddlers and preschoolers are grabbing the weapons, and the psychopath refuses to put the weapon up and lock the weapon up. They can do shit like that too, y'all. It's many unsafe things that psychopath can do on purpose to show you that they have no regard for you or the children that are around. So consider this example that I just gave you. It's not just that door, y'all. They can do many things. They can make hazardous situations, just create them. Okay? And they just can. The psychopathy allows it. They don't care. And they're capable of doing it on purpose. However, this is something I went through. I'm just bringing awareness. My experience with people. What I really thank the Lord for is I was able to offer to that psychopath what I was offered. My entire life, I was secured in the home. Doors were locked for me. The adults did that. So I offered that to anyone that lives in my home also. I offered the same thing. I did not get that respect back from that psychopath. But like I said, that's just how they think. They don't care. Doesn't matter. They don't care if they come back and you dead. They might say some shit like, oh, that's not going to happen. Anything can happen when you leave a door unlocked on purpose and leave your loved ones in that situation while they're asleep. You have no defense while you're asleep. You can't go get a weapon. There's no fight back, y'all. It's just a wrap for you. You're done. I mean, you wake up to being killed. That's just basically how that works, y'all. For real, that's how it works. You wake up to your death or to your torture, whatever's going to happen to you because of what that psychopath did. So remember, you got to report this in writing. Call your lawyer. Put it on file with the police department. Write a letter to a friend. Have them save it in the event of your death or serious injury. And be careful. And now you know that when people do these type of things, they're not narcissists, y'all. These are psychopaths. Okay? These are psychopaths. This is different. Even a narcissistic person ain't gonna lock your door or let you know, hey, I'm getting ready to leave, and wake you up so you can lock your door. And them not having a key is not a legitimate excuse to do that to you, because you don't have to give them your key. You just don't. And if your reasons for not giving the keys out is because they're minors, they're immature, they're doing gateway drugs, they're doing hardcore drugs, those are legitimate reasons. As long as the person is living and you're opening that door to let them come back to sleep and reside in your home, there's no excuse to do that. You don't deserve that. So not giving the psychopath something that they want, which is that key, even though you let them come back to your home when they need to stay, They shouldn't do that to you. How does that benefit the psychopath to do that to you? Because if you're dead, everything's gone, right? I mean, that's just how it works. Everything's gone. But the psychopath doesn't look at it like that. I would look at it like, we're living together. I want to keep you alive. What benefit are you to me dead? Psychopaths don't give a fuck about that. They don't think like people that have the ability to have empathy. They don't fucking think like that. And this is why, if you're subscribed to me, forget that million subscribers. You subscribe to me for this reason right here. Because I haven't heard another video that I have heard where they've told about this particular situation. Not to say ain't nobody been through it. I named a couple of scenarios that it could happen. Like I mentioned, the weapon, the psychopath leaving the armed weapons around the babies. And the children's parents and relatives are steadily telling the psychopath, please put the weapons away. But this psychopath does not give a fuck that one of these kids are shot. The psychopath's going to go out and buy more fucking weapons. And a lot of times that's why these kids are murdered by these weapons in these